comes from just my name and also my mentality to my career. I don't take no for an answer, and I'm not afraid of no. And Karen is someone who fits that description too, and so that's why I'm excited that she's here to talk to us. And as she's built the brand of others, she's also built her own following. She's earned a spot in Ebony Magazine's Power 100. She also was named in Billboard as one of the Twitter 140, amongst other numerous awards. She has nearly 300,000 followers on Twitter, and her site, KarenCivil.com, has millions of views per month. And even if you don't know Karen, if you're on social media and you've ever watched a star go from unknown to viral sensation, then you definitely know her work. And so without further ado, I am proud and honored to welcome Karen Civil. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. So I think I covered the surface of what you do. I mean, you do so much. But during my research, I was really fascinated by how you started and you utilized opportunities before social media even started. You used the internet to create opportunities before social media even existed. And I read about, your Backstreet Boys fan page and like how you would be in the AOL chat room. So can you talk about how those things jump-started your career?
I was always one, I had a fascination for the internet because I was a Haitian American who dressed like Wednesday Addams, who loved the Backstreet Boys. So unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of friends or people who understood me. So now here's this world on AOL where I joined this Backstreet Boys fan club, and then I found, other African American people who like them too. And I was like, well, this is cool. I found this whole other audience of people around the world who have things in common with me, and I wasn't so stuck in my community. I was like, I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey. So it's like, if you didn't like Biggie or Tupac, nothing else mattered. So now here's this other world where I had things with people in common from around the globe. And that really started it for me. And I was like, I got to figure out a way to make money, because this is a hobby. I want to talk to people around the world all the time, and I just got to figure this out. I didn't know what it was yet, but I just knew it was something.
So what was the first step? How did you figure it out?
I think the first step for me was I used social media to get what I want, in a sense of I started my Backstreet Boy fan site, and I wanted to meet them. And I was just like, maybe one day they'll see my site, or Jive Records, or just their manager will reach out. So I entered, MTV had this show called Fanatic. I didn't win, they picked another girl, but one of the executives from Jive Records reached out to me, and they said, they liked my site, they liked everything about me, and they gave me the opportunity to meet them. So now I'm like, my fan site got me what I wanted. And this was like my first inkling into the internet is going to be that driving force for me. The internet is going to be that place where I feel like everything can happen. Because it started with the Backstreet Boys, then I had a love for this actor named J.D. Williams, who was from Newark, New Jersey. And he played, did anybody watch The Wire? Yeah. So he was Bodie on The Wire. So I loved him. I loved him so much. And I started this Yahoo group for him. And I was like, I feel like he knows this about the group. And I was just like, I want to figure out if I can meet him, if I can do something. So I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm gonna say I'm going to sell t-shirts. I was like, I'm going to pretend I'm making money off his name. And I went to cafeexpress.com, and I made all this JD, this is the time he was on, I think it was Oz. Yeah, he was on one of those, Oz, I think it was. And I made all this fake merchandise and was pretending I was selling it. And not even 48 hours later, his lawyer contacted me and was just like, you can't sell this merchandise. I was like, yeah, well, I already made $2,000 and he was like, yeah, well, you know what, I'm gonna connect you, and I think you guys should speak on this, and yada yada yada. So then finally, when I got a chance to speak to him, I was like, I wasn't really selling any merchandise. I said I just wanted to talk to you, and I just lied to get what I want, and I figured I was like, I knew you were checking out the site, and I was like, I knew it, and I got to talk to him, and we actually he took me out for my birthday to IHOP, so it was great. So
yeah. Is that what you wanted?
Yes, pretty much, yes.
Awesome. So you describe yourself a lot as an anti-social girl in a social world. So to do something like that, you have to be bold. It doesn't sound like a shy girl would do something like that. So how do you overcome your kind of natural, I guess, shyness to really go out there and get what you want and do what you want to do?
It's weird because it's like sporadic for me. I'm an introvert. I like to be home. It's very hard for me to talk in large groups. Like, this is very intimidating for me right now, but then I just get that burst of courage because it's just like, it's now or never. It's either you do it or you don't. This is your one opportunity, so just do it. And I just continue to tell myself that, like, Karen, if you don't do this, it's never gonna happen for you. Because I've let so many moments go by in my life that I'm like, you know, that I regret, like, I should have said something, I should have did this, I should have been a better person, I should have, and I just didn't want to live that shoulda, coulda, woulda life anymore.
Is there like one moment where you regret not saying something that really propelled you to say, okay, I'm just gonna do it, I'm gonna continue to put myself out there when I want something, I'm not gonna let another opportunity pass?
I think for me, it was more on a personal level with one of my friends. I started to see them go down the wrong path, and you know, with me and them being best friends, I should have just stepped out on and said, listen, you know, look at what you're doing. Look at the choices you're making. And I didn't do that. I just kind of just let them be, and they're no longer here with me. And that really was really the start for me, because I'm like, I should have said something. I could have been the difference in this person's life.
I really want to focus on your beginning, because I'm really fascinated by just how everything kind of lined up. And it makes sense now, looking back, but I'm sure when you were going through, you were like, oh my God, what is happening? So you went for the opportunity with Angie Martinez, and you didn't make it. And then you ended up interning with Buckmaster Flex. How did that happen? How did you leverage that?
So let me tell you about Angie. So I wrote her an email. She did this apprentice contest. This was the second annual one. So I wrote her an email, and Mike, her apprentice at the time, responded and said, Angie loved you, and we want you to come down to the station. I got so excited. I was telling everybody, I was like, yeah, I'm about to work for Angie Martinez. And I was just excited. So I get down to the station, and I'm like, okay, where's my desk? Where am I going to set up? And they tell me, they're like, yeah, you got to go in the back. I go into the back room. It's a room full of people like this. And I was just like, oh, you guys having like a staff meeting? And they were like, no, we're here for the internship. And I was like, I didn't realize I had to compete. And then it went from, and I found that burst of courage. I was like, listen, you want to work for Angie Martinez. You want to be a part of this. You don't want to be stuck in Elizabeth. So you got to get it together. So it went from 60 down to 30, down to 15. I made the top 3, and unfortunately she didn't pick me, which was okay. And then 2 weeks later, I just happened to call into Flex's show to, you know, just to touch base. I'm like, hey, do you need an intern? And Tat Wizard answered the phone, and he said, yeah, I actually had your information here, and I was going to call you, and we actually do need an internship. We actually do need an intern, and it started from there. Wow. Yeah. People have to remember, like, social media it's whoever you want to be. You can depict whatever you want, and a lot of the times it's other people's highlight reels. And for me, I don't necessarily focus on everybody else. Like, I'm not worried about what the latest Kardashian is doing. I gotta focus on myself, you know. And it's cool to see what everyone else is doing, but I can't focus on that. I'm not saying I'm not looking. I see it, but I'm not obsessing over, oh my gosh, I need to have this like this person, I need to do this like this person, I need to do that, because now I'm not living for me. I'm trying to be someone else or not. And that's one thing I'm not going to do. I did that for so long growing up and in high school, trying to be everyone else but myself to fit in with some people that didn't matter. So I'm not doing that now. So I'm content with who I am. You know, I'm happy for the people around me, because I understand that someone else's success doesn't mean my failure. someone else can be doing great. It may not be my time will come. They have a pretty little whatever it is, good for them. So, you know, I just look at it that way.
But you have to constantly remind yourself.
Yeah, you have to constantly remind yourself, because you will fall into the trap of you know, unfortunately being envious and jealous and just succumbing to thinking, oh my gosh, if I don't have it right now, that instant gratification of, if it doesn't happen for me right now, it will never happen. Mm-hmm. So when I started my career, we have MySpace and Black Planet. And now it's like 40, 50 different platforms to keep up with people, so it's a lot. So rather than keeping up with the Kardashians, I'm trying to keep up with my life.
Let's go back to a career moment, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
You were working with Dipset, they split.
Mm-hmm.
You were working with Matt C, you were about to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And so I read that you actually took a job at a financial brokerage firm during that time because it was hectic. There's a lot of things that were kind of falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that moment like for you, and what was going through your mind when you took that other job and kind of walked away from what you were doing?
So the funny story with that is, before I applied for that job, I was watching Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Mm-hmm. So in that movie, she lied to get her job. Mm-hmm. So I knew I needed a job, but I wanted to focus on my website. So I went to, it was like Career Builder and like Hot Jobs, whatever it was. And I lied and I made a resume and I made it look all fancy. I used all these $10 words. And I got a job on Wall Street. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what was happening, but there was a girl there who used to do all my work for me. And I would sit in my office and I would just focus on my KarenCivil.com and build it. I'm not saying that's the thing you guys should do. That worked for me. I was able to, you know, make some income and work on my website.
Uh-huh. And so when were you able to leave that job and work on KarenCivil.com full time? Because that's also the year that you launched your website. Oh, they figured it out.
They're eventually gonna figure out when you ain't doing no work. You're always on the computer. But by this time, my site started to make money, because you know, I figured out with Google Analytics and certain things and putting my stuff up on YouTube. So I started to make money. So it was just like, oh, I don't need you guys anyway. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Okay.
My question is, can you tell me a little bit about how you create value in your work, that you became like the go-to expert for marketing?
For me, it's just like, it started with the way that I was raised. My mother said, you know, you have to care about everything that you do. You put your passion, and if you put your stamp on it, and if it's something that you believe in, you have to make sure that you nurture it and you do it right. I don't half-ass anything I do. If I say if I'm going to take upon a project, I'm not going to just deliver, I'm going to over-deliver. I'm going to give you more than what you ask for. I give more than what I take. So that's something that continuously worked for me, especially at Beats. If they say, we need to get headphones on, for instance, it was All-Star Weekend in, I think it was like Tampa or something. We need to get headphones on somebody at the game. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. That's all that they ask for. But I know I have to step out and do a little bit more so I can stand out more and people understand that, like, I really take my job serious. So besides getting headphones on someone and someone taking a picture, making Lil Wayne wear the $1 million headphones courtside that match his teeth, and then him bumping Kevin Durant, who wears Skull Candy, who partners with him, and then Kevin Durant coming over to look at his headphones and getting all those money shots. So that right there is what sets me apart. Right. You know, making sure that you don't just deliver, you over deliver. So if they're expecting 10 from you, you give them 40. Like, you know, it's no big deal. And then you know, I never like gloat or throw it in anyone's face. Like, you know, it's always a team thing. Oh, wait, guys, we did great. Look, we did this together. You know, and you just make it a team effort, and you just let people know, like, yeah, we're going to win.
I appreciate that.
You right here with the bangs.
Hello, hi, how you doing? My name is Ebony Balsa. I'm currently a public relations representative for a clothing company that I started. Mm-hmm. And my question to you is, do you offer internships? And if so, do you ever think about doing something that Angie Martinez did for you?
Yeah, I take interns very seriously, because the last two I had went on to do incredible things. One is Steve. I had 2 guy interns, which is crazy, but one is Steve. He went on to create his ASAP Productions, and the first person he signed was ASAP Rocky, and he manages, he has a whole ASAP team. So they call him Yam, he calls himself Yamborghini now, or ASAP Yam. So, you know, starting with him, and then another gentleman by the name of Sean, who I adored and loved and worked with me for 3.5 years. He went on to open his own art gallery, and he's doing very well. So I'm not one to take an intern and say, just go get me coffee and go like the stuff they made me do.
Okay.
I take it very serious, and I have 3 working for me right now, but I always update my site when I actually need people to do stuff.
Okay.
Because I don't want to waste anyone's time with walking my dog and getting mail.
Yeah.
I can do that myself.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Right here.
That's kind of
Yes.
Everyone needs to hear your question too. It's not just a conversation with us.
okay. All right. So my question is, I actually networked with a lot of ladies before the event. How did you cultivate this women circle that you have? You said that you have a lot of women that work for you. I also noticed that you have like a lot of powerful women and business women that are in your circle. How did you cultivate those people?
Okay. So when I moved to LA 4 years ago, I had no friends. So I started to meet women. I started to go to events. I go to events alone. So that way I'm forced to talk to people. And I would go and I would have 20 business cards. So I hand them out to different people, and I would keep in contact and we would talk to each other. So when we go to lunch, I'd be like, hey girl, do you know so-and-so? No. I'm like, okay, that was shady, but it's okay. I'm like, we'll figure it out later, whatever the case may be. So then this idea sparked to have the Live Civil brunch. So I was like, this would be great to bring all these women that I met that at that time, and I was like, I want to bring all these women together who don't know each other, who think they have nothing in common, because one can be an exec, one can be, a video vixen, and they think they have nothing in common. I'm like, actually we do. We're all living in our purpose. We're all trying to figure out our careers, and as much as you think on the front end you may not have something in common, but you do. You may go to the same gym. You may be working out on something. You may need a model for this. You may need an exec for that. So let's not be all meow, meow, meow to each other, and you always involve alcohol. You get some drinks.
Did you guys have wine out there?
You get some drinks, you get some food, and that's when it works. And now it continues. We just had the 4th annual one, and it continues to grow because it was producers from the OWN network who work with Oprah to, some of the actresses from Glee, and just bringing people together who necessarily would never think they would have anything in common, and some people who would never think they would speak to each other are literally best friends. The same girl that I'm not gonna say who she is. The same girl who I was like, do you know her? She was like, no. Her and that girl are best friends now. So it's funny. So yeah, it's just pretty much just doing my part with the brunches.
Let's show this side some love. You right here.
There's times when, as an individual, we lack motivation. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just like, all right, cool, we start something, and then we have naysayers saying, no, don't do it, or we have self-doubt. Like, how do you stay afloat? Also, how do you balance it with life-work balance? Like, I know you have your significant other, you want to pay that person attention, but then sometimes you feel like, how do you maintain balance when you lose motivation, is what I'm trying to say.
It's crazy because I feel like it's never going to be balanced for women and who have careers and personal lives, because whatever you succeed in one area, you lack in the other, and that's always going to be unfortunate. Like, a lot of people are here right now, you're missing out on something. It can be spending time with your boyfriend, spending time with your children, or class. So unfortunately it's never always going to tip in our favor, but I have my time constraint, and I try to utilize my time as best as possible, and I'm really one for scheduling things out and trying to make the most of my time. I may get, say, 100 emails come in. I'm not going to answer every single one of them, because I know if I take the time to do that, I'm taking away from something else. So it's just what you feel is of value to you at that moment? What do you think I need to focus this energy and this time on? And making sure that you balance it out. It's
What
a
about
shame we
lack
gotta
of
be like
motivation?
jugglers.
You lose motivation. How do you get back into the drive?
You make a killer playlist. I'm telling you. I get in those moments, but I am big on Deepak Chopra's Pandora Station. You can go on his site, you can pay for all that stuff. But the Pandora Station is the same stuff for free. I play it in the morning. I sit and I meditate. You know, and that's where the blessing jar and my notebook that I keep on the side of my bed come into play. Because when I feel like things aren't happening the way I want them to, I go grab a handful of those blessings, and I'm like, Karen, it's gonna come. It's gonna come. And there are people who are gonna sit around you who are not gonna see success for you because they don't see it for themselves. There's nothing you can do about it. It's your vision. It's the passion that's inside of your heart, not theirs. And just remember, this is your life. You can't live for them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Karen, for joining us.